The first lunch talk is on 5G venturing. Ms. Bina Gupta, founder and chief executive, Innovation Hong Kong, will chat with Kristina Serafim, managing director from Verizon Ventures. Their topic today is Transform Our World with 5G.
Welcome everyone to Cyberport's Venture Capital Forum. Our lunchtime fireside chat is with Kristina Serafim, Managing Director, Verizon Ventures. Hi, Kristina, and thank you for taking the time at your time in the evening to do this chat with us.
Thank you, Bina. I'm happy to be here, and thank you for having me.
Our pleasure. Cyberport welcomes you. I'd like to kick off, Kristina, with just a little bit about yourself and how you came to Verizon. If you would mind sharing that with us, please.
Of course. Yes, I started out my career on the engineering side, actually on the technical side, a couple of decades or more ago. And then I was first, about a decade, I started two companies. I was an entrepreneur. So I co-founded two companies. Both went through, I was lucky to have a track record where both companies went through an acquisition. So I was there from the beginning to taking them through the acquisition. So I got a taste of the entrepreneurial side of also both companies. We went through fundraising, through growing the company, through getting them acquired. And then after that, I went to the investing side. Prior to Verizon, I was part of a couple funds. Intellectual Ventures is one of the funds. And then I was also at another corporate VC fund before joining Verizon Ventures 5 years ago, which is where I've been since. Focusing on one of the 5 managing directors on our team. Our team is the venture arm for Verizon. We have global presence. I'm in Palo Alto on the West Coast in the US. We have a couple of our managing directors and other team members in the East Coast, in the headquarters, New York, New Jersey, and then also some team members in Israel. Our investment focus is global, and we invest in early stage startups that are of strategic relevance to Verizon. So we work with startups and invest in startups that belong to a pretty wide range of technology areas. And I sometimes when I talk to both entrepreneurs and people in the ecosystem, they're surprised at how wide our strategic relevance is, because it ranges from a lot of 5G use cases right now. And it's not only 5G use cases, but a lot of 5G use cases, from immersive tech to sports tech, health tech, fintech. Also that's more on the consumer side. On the enterprise side, we also invest in enterprise SaaS, robotics, smart manufacturing, edge compute, edge AI, ML, AI, vertical AI as well. And then on the network side, also companies that are relevant and innovating in the telco network space and 5G space. So when I also say early stage, that for us means anywhere from late seed to Series B companies. And we work very close. Our focus is both financial and strategic. So we're looking for financially viable opportunities, for financial opportunities that can produce financial return, as well as strategically relevant in strategically relevant areas, essentially.
Thank you. You bring a lot of expertise into this area, and it's interesting to hear that you have that entrepreneurial background as well, which I think must be so valuable in terms of startups and gaining knowledge. I mean, if we look at the venture capital area I quote from CB Insights in Q2 and just compare it to Q2 2020. The last quarter has been the biggest quarter in the last decade for raising funds globally. what do you see as a reason for that? I mean, we've had, COVID going on and everything that you would think would not support that figure. Are there any reasons you could think of for that?
Well, there's a lot of available capital, right? There's just a lot of capital. I mean, for us, actually, we have been quite active. We have sustained and remained kind of in our target where we have been for years in terms of how much capital would deploy. Now, so the good news is that during COVID, we did not slow down at all. We have continued to make investments. I would not say that we made more investments that we normally would have, but we did prioritize certain areas because as a result of COVID, it kind of created demand in areas that we were already focused on, but we definitely prioritized them in as far as the aggressiveness and really looking at the consumer demand. So those areas, for example, the remote work, the immersive tech that enabled a lot of hybrid events in the music space, in the sports space, and on the healthcare side as well, the health tech, telemedicine, areas like that we saw kind of almost forced demand as a result of COVID and as a result of the people not being able to consume some of the in the traditional ways, like especially live events that were shut down. So, but I think the interesting part was that as a result of the beautiful convergence of technology, connectivity, and the context of the situation we were in, a lot of consumers, for example, got to experience, consumers and enterprise companies got to experience how we could do things in a different way, and we could do them seamlessly. And we could, things like hybrid events, virtual events, remote work, for example, telemedicine, and which I think just opened up access to these technologies, to these different approaches that are here to stay post-COVID as well.
Thank you. And then, I mean, if I look at, that amount, I didn't mention it earlier, but I mean, 70 billion was raised in the last quarter. That's just in Q2 in the US, which is phenomenal. But I don't think Asia was too far behind. I mean, we were at 42.4 billion raised. So I think, I hear you strongly saying that, obviously with COVID, there were new opportunities and that they are here to stay with us. But if I sort of move around a little bit, because I know our focus is on 5G today, and being a major investor in telecoms, where do you see the growth areas coming from in 5G, particularly in the US, and then possibly if you could touch on Asia?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that we see areas where there are certain industries where latency, for example, plays a more significant part, where 5G connectivity enables a lot of applications, a lot of technologies that previous 4G and previous connectivity and technologies were not able to really service in the same way. So, for example, the IoT space, the IoT, I think revolution is kind of ushering a new age of digital business. I think the network connected sensor equipped devices that are with the 5G connectivity can really truly now finally enable the data collection, the kind of mobility and the business opportunities that we have been anticipating for a long time. Autonomous driving is another area that I think 5G is really making it possible to implement kind of critical safety systems, automotive safety systems, and kind of advanced driver experiences that would not have been possible with 3G or 4G. LTE. I mentioned health as well. I think that both health as in telehealth, but also there are, for instance, we I have one investment that is in the surgical visualization space that's utilizing immersive tech like AR to really enable much more accurate, much more precise surgery that is both obvious, but remote surgeries is another areas where we're actively looking at. And then the immersive space is, I think, very present both on the consumer and the enterprise side. I did mention some of those areas on the entertainment or consumer side that are music focused or live event, bringing kind of the live event experience in the home through very immersive AR, VR enabled technologies, as well as on the enterprise side. There are multiple areas like in remote maintenance and industrial applications, public sector applications. So these are all technologies and use cases where I think the need for 5G connectivity makes it solves the problem in a more seamless way than we have tried before without 5G. So it's not necessarily, some of these use cases are not necessarily new. They've been tried and attempted before, but it's that combination of connectivity, low latency, and the timing in the market that really enables the adoption both on the consumer and the enterprise side.
So keeping on the entertainment and gaming area, Kristina, we're all very proud here of our unicorn Animoca brands in that area. What is the appeal for gaming for Verizon Ventures, and where do you see the opportunities? And I don't mean to push too much, but in Asia, because that is where the home of a lot of this gaming development is happening.
Yes, so actually we have a small portfolio of companies that are in the immersive space that have gaming or gamification elements to their offering or their platform. And we see some of these portfolio companies really having a lot more a faster adoption in Asia first, and then sometimes US follows. For example, in the holographic video space, and we have also a company that is actually working. We have co-invested with Animoca brands and looking at some companies in the future together that are really going globally across the different markets globally. But I think in the immersive space, in the gaming space, really in the metaverse, which is really a kind of a trend that's that I hear almost on a daily basis these days, areas where entrepreneurs are innovating. It's sometimes slightly different use cases in Asia versus US, and especially when we talk about the entertainment space or volumetric capture, for instance. We have an investment in a company, 8i, that it's an investment. We've invested in this company several years ago, but they're seeing a lot of traction in Asia first, and then the US follows. And a lot more experimentation with the technology, like volumetric capture around entertainment, primarily, engaging with music and celebrities and human holographs as well. So I think that there are, it's very interesting to me to see this kind of in that area specifically, in the gaming as an immersive space, really in the metaverse. I see a lot of faster adoption and faster experimentation in Asia than in the US. But I think that's it's not necessarily surprising, because we've been seeing kind of this trend in gaming or in immersive for some time now.
And you touched on the term, and I know there are so many new buzzwords going on with each thing that we have, volumetric capture. Could you explain that, please? I'm a little curious.
Sure, of course. So I'm actually very proud of our investment in 8i because they have really positioned themselves these days. I think they were a little bit early to the market, but within the last 2-3 years, they've really positioned themselves as a market leader in many ways, given the traction and the adoption they're getting. But what the technology does is essentially it enables a brand, let's say, or a gaming company or a media company to create a human hologram. So essentially, what they did, I think, with some of their partners in Asia is created a human hologram of a celebrity. I think there were some K-pop stars, for example, that I remember that use case specifically. And then I, as a consumer, as a fan of that celebrity, I can really engage in this virtual environment with the human hologram, and I can engage in a number of different ways. You can be there really in presence with that celebrity. You can dance. You can really create viral type of engagements and content. So those are, I think that there's still a lot of experimentation going on in the space, but there's definitely, it's really exciting to see what the technology can bring. Another one of our investments that's really exciting and very cool, it's Lightfield Lab. So what they do is they use true light field technology, and they have a interactive holographic video display wall. So they just had a bunch of press coverage very recently. They're going to market soon, and I've seen their latest product and their demo of their latest product, and it's just truly impressive. The stability of the hologram, the way that you can interact with the hologram, and the use of Lightfield Lab, it is just truly a unique technology. And I think that they also have, this company specifically has both US investors, European investors, as well as Asian investors and strategic investors. And the reason for that is they are going to deploy the technology globally. So I'm very curious to see some of the use cases that come out of the Asian market versus US market. That would be exciting and interesting.
It sounds fascinating, and thank you for sharing that with us. Now, sticking with entertainment, I want to just change it a little bit towards sport, because I know particularly in the US, there's the infrastructure there with a lot of the arenas and the stadiums. And I know that Verizon has large investments in NBA and NFL. Can you share a little bit about with us, how we are going to be able to be consuming sport? And I know that touches a little bit on what you talked about before with volumetric capture, but I think also the other aspects which are going to be exciting for us, maybe even going into 6G, if I may mention.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And this is, I think, Verizon, as you probably know, has invested traditionally in sports, but with the pandemic and the role that ventures also played, and 5G was 5G driven, accelerated by the pandemic, but the role that ventures played in enabling those type of experiences in the sports space was really exciting, because we created a small portfolio of companies that are innovative, that are complementary to each other. And I would love to mention, and all of these investments were really to support our business units that are involved with the larger leagues and the NFL and other larger leagues. But the ventures team focused on identifying and investing in smaller startups that are innovating and can bring these type of truly immersive experiences. So some to mention, fan-controlled football is one of our investments, and what they do is really bring gaming. It's a kind of a blend between gaming and football. They have a physical game, but the game is fully controlled by the user. So the user can name the team, pick the team, call the shots. They're also working with another one of our investment companies, YBVR, that does VR and AR live streaming. So what they enable is multicam views, being able out of your home to view the game near real life experience. So I think that some of these technologies are not going to replace the live audience in the studio or in the music concert or in the sports arena, but what they do enable is access, significantly larger access to fan base, to consumers that are not able to be there physically in the game and are able to consume that game or that concert in a near real live experience. Another one of our investments, Shot Tracker, what they do is very exciting also, is that they have a sensor that collects data and enables the company or the teams to analyze, get much more data and incorporate AI into the game as well. And lastly, Status Pro is another company in this space. They're working with the NFL. What they do is they have a platform that enables pro athlete training in VR. NFL has been using their platform for the pro athlete training and through the pandemic, and they're also launching a consumer game in the near future as well. So as you see, there are multiple ways in which technology just brings this next gen sports experience or entertainment experience to the consumer, but it's only possible because of 5G.
Thank you, Kristina. And I'd like to just quickly ask, I know we're running very tight on time, but very importantly for those startups and scale-ups who are in this gaming and entertainment arena, what is a key point, being an entrepreneur yourself, that you could give them to try and be attractive to a venture capital firm such as yours?
Well, I think that it's always, I think as an entrepreneur, it's always trying to figure out how to solve a problem or bring a new experience to the market in a way that that has that product market fit. I mean, showing, we do make sometimes earlier stage investments. Some, like I mentioned, some of these are in the late seed stage. Some are further along in the A round. But I think what ultimately matters is, can these companies deliver an experience that the consumers want, that their enterprise customers want? And how can you, in the earlier stages of the company, you want to really collect that data and show it in the best way possible. So I think that it depends on the ways that you collect that data is a little bit different on the consumer side as opposed to enterprise, but ultimately that's what matters is, are you solving a problem that in a way that it's significantly better than it's been done before, or are you bringing an experience in the entertainment context to the consumers that is engaging, that is innovative, that is immersive?
And I think, Kristina, that's great, valuable advice, and it's lovely to hear. We always hear the solving the problem, but bringing a new gaming experience or something in that area for media and entertainment, I think is great advice. So with that, I know that we are now coming to a close, and a very short time. I hope that we can welcome you back again to Cyberport and the Venture Capital Forum. It's been really, really interesting chatting with you, and thank you very much again.
Thank you.